and welcome to the annual episode of My Neighbour.
Annual? Yeah, because we said we were going to do better at this.
We did, and we kind of haven't.
We haven't, have we?
No, we really have been a bit atrocious. But anyway, let's move on from that.
Okay, what is this, a swiftly moving on?
Swiftly
We're really badly
moving on. So, we had to do one, considering it's a brand new film.
I know.
Out. Well, I say brand new. It's been out
No, it hasn't.
since it's Christmas in the UK.
Yes, it came out on Boxing Day.
It's been a couple of months out in Japan.
Yes.
And America's
Yes.
America's similar time to us, isn't it? So
Yeah, you see, so we're actually on it.
it's had I'm going to say a kind of a limited release in the UK. It's only sort of limited cinemas as opposed to the big screen. There's been a few big screens it's shown on. When I was looking on the View, I was in particular looking at because that's our local big screen cinema. But we had to go to a more of an arty.
We had to go to an
arty cinema, but we like arty-farty cinemas.
We do like arty-farty.
They're all very good.
Yes.
So we have viewed.
Yes. We haven't even said what we've seen. The Boy and the Heron.
There we go. I think people might have guessed. It's not.
Okay, there is that. I
you
guess.
know, there's only one movie that's come out in the past 4 years.
Probably longer.
Roughly.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, before we get into that, we have got a couple of reviews, but we're just going to pick on one.
Why pick on one when we have two?
Because we could do the next one in the next episode.
Next year.
If you want to get your name shouted out, then give us a nice 5-star review, and we'll pick one every episode. We're not just touting for reviews here.
We are touting for reviews.
we are touting for reviews.
Touting.
So this one is entitled Amazing.
I like that already.
You like this one?
Already. You're my friend.
I love this podcast. I've recently been going through all of the Ghibli films, and every time I finish one, I get so excited about knowing I get to listen to another episode of My Neighbour podcast. I mean, the original ones weren't that great, but this last one and this one, we've got a structure now.
We have.
We've got a structure
It'd
now.
be even better if we actually did it.
Well, that's true. That's true. They're the perfect length, not too long, not too short, as well as very funny and entertaining. Thank you.
Thank you.
The only negative,
Oh, here we go.
I'd have to say, is I wish it was updated more.
Ian.
Other than that, super great. Super smashing great would have been better, but super great is good. That's an old reference from the 80s.
It is
Super smashing great. Also, now this is the funny bit.
Go on.
Also, apologies for the name. I set it when I was a very small child writing a review of some random app, and I have no idea to change it. The name is Worst App Ever, Unhappy Angry Face.
Oh, I like the unhappy angry face.
It's hilarious.
Oh, they're probably like 43 now. And they're like, oh, I've still got that one.
Thank you very much for you. That's really
you.
nice. It does actually mean a lot when we hear positive things.
Yes.
Or just anything at all is great.
Yes.
But no, it's really nice. And it's surprising. We look back at the history of this podcast, and there's actually a heck of a lot of listeners, which is amazing.
I know. Hi.
So we do. I said this last time. We want to make an effort to improve.
You see, I'm all up for it, and then I go, right, come on, we're watching this. You're like,
Yeah, I know. I'm a pain.
You are a pain.
I want to do it. I kind of want to set up a Patreon, not necessarily to fund things, but it's a good way initially of a free version that people can get in contact and actually show who's interested in listening and so forth. Right. So I might do that as well.
Free Patreon.
Free Patreon.
Yeah,
just so we can understand numbers. Because you go on Facebook and stuff, it doesn't quite give you the same information.
Yeah.
This would be more about the people who are really interested. So I may look at doing that
Okay.
down the line. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. I think we need to do a few more of these first.
But, well, it's more to understand the listeners and the listener base and what they want to hear as well.
Yeah, it's just my mum.
Yeah.
She did that. She did.
To be fair,
she did a really bad review onto a review thing. I had to put angry.
She would make that mistake. To be fair,
would.
She really would. Yeah, it's either the young people who make those mistakes or the really old.
Yeah.
Right then, let's get on to the film itself.
Okay.
So,
yes,
we want one of your wonderful plot synopsises.
I'd actually written it all down, but then I realised I was actually writing the entire story down.
Which is not what we want to do, really.
No. So, hello Wikipedia, we love you. So I looked at Wikipedia and thought, well, they've done it much better than I could. But I will kind of...
At least we're honest. At least we're honest.
I'll always be honest. So it's set in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
And we have our protagonist, Mojito, a young lad.
I like mojitos.
Oh, have I just said it wrong?
No, it's a different spelling. I'm just saying.
He smells of lime and mint. Mojito. There's a bombing, isn't there, basically? They're in Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bombing. The hospital where his mother works. We haven't done a spoiler alert, by the way.
Spoiler alerts. If you listen to any of our podcasts, it's going to be spoiled. Watch the film.
What just life?
The film is going to be spoiled. Watch the film, then come and listen.
Yeah. We'll put that in now.
Yeah, stop. We've not spoiled anything yet.
I'm going to. So, yes, anyway. She's a nurse or a doctor in a hospital, gets bombed. She dies in the fire. They then evacuate, don't they, to a rural estate where Mojito is introduced to his new mummy, who has married his father.
Yes.
You know, just on the side. But it turns out his new mum is his auntie. I think that's a Jerry Springer happening right now. So they go to this place in the countryside. They've actually got a mansion out there, haven't
Gorgeous.
they? It's lovely. There's a group of little old ladies that work there who I adore. To the point
come
of
back to
I
them.
want them in my life. Anyway, so he gets sent to school. His dad takes him in a car because he thinks that will make him look posh and something, doesn't he? He takes him in.
He's quite proud of that fact.
Yeah.
Like he thinks that'll make him fit in better.
Popular at school.
Yeah, they'll be impressed, which obviously isn't the case with kids.
His dad's got a factory doing munitions. So anyway, but yeah, he goes to school. He doesn't fit in. He doesn't want to be there. He's grieving at the end of the day. His mum's dead. He's been carted off into the countryside. Oh, hello, here's your new mum. Oh, and she's pregnant. I mean, I would be a bit at sea as well myself. But anyway, he gets into a fight at school, obviously, and then he takes a rock and hits himself on the head with it. And there's a lot of blood. And it's really quite a bad wound, which I think is something you come back to later on in the story. It becomes a bit more clear as to why he did it. Anyway, his synopsis is really going well.
We may as well just watch the film.
Oh, I'm so bad at this. Anyway, he becomes ill, but there's a heron in the grounds that he's spotted.
Yes.
I mean, there's one perfect point where he's watching the heron flying around and it gets to there's a tower. I haven't even said about the tower, have I? There's a tower in the grounds as well that's abandoned and no one's supposed to go near it. And the heron flies up to the tower and just swings upside down into the window. I love that point. That is just... Mwah. Anyway, he's ill. There's a heron. The heron starts yelling outside his window, as herons obviously do now, whilst growing a bulbous nose and teeth.
You know, they said in the review it's a perfect length.
Shall I stop?
Keep going.
I don't think I should. Okay. Yeah, he gets ill. Then he goes off wandering and gets attacked by frogs.
Yes. You're really going specific points here.
Sorry. He does get attacked by frogs because you need to have then his aunt comes out, does an arrow, whistling arrow that scares all the frogs and the fish away, and then he makes a bow and arrow, and he finds a heron feather to do it, but the feather's all funny.
Anyway,
yeah, carry on.
His aunt becomes ill.
Yes,
and wanders off.
They say she has morning sickness, but I think there's something more going on there.
And then wanders off and gets lost within this tower.
Yes.
And then Mojito has to go and find her and save her with the heron's aid. And during that process, gets whisked off into a random world.
Where he finds his mum, doesn't he?
Where he, again, synopsis.
Okay.
Where he...
I'm being quiet again. I just get so involved.
Where he has to save his aunt.
Yes.
Whilst battling various different birds.
There's a lot of birds. Because the birds have been... I'm shutting up.
Until essentially you finding friends along the way. Yeah. And eventually the story ends. So there we go. That's sort of me getting a synopsis sort of done.
Like,
let's go more specific.
Well, which point now? I've started being more specific.
Okay. So
there's so much in it.
Okay, well let's start sort of delving a bit deeper now. Okay.
I have trouble with this whole synopsis idea.
I've noticed.
Because it's so involved and so complicated.
It is extremely complicated.
It is actually.
And it's almost like two films. There's sort of very much two parts to it. So your first part is him arriving at this new home, essentially meeting these people. And the first sort of idea we get of that is when he's coming off the train
Yeah.
and is suddenly introduced to this new woman.
Yeah.
And it
Who
feels...
obviously she'd known him as a baby because his mum had been there.
But there was no explanation of this at that point.
No.
We had no idea that this was his aunt.
No,
We had no
I
idea.
think it was alluded to.
I don't feel it was then.
Oh, okay. So I thought
It was
I
a bit
picked up
later,
on it.
but I didn't get it initially.
I think when they went, oh, she looks... No, she said he looks so much like his mother.
Yes.
But then they also said she looks like his mother as well, I think. Yeah.
But it just felt like this, it almost felt like this was the first time he knew of her.
I think it's the first time he actually met her and remembers, because he met her when he was a baby.
So my question here is, when did dear old daddy...
Oh, dear old daddy was off and about, wasn't he?
When did dear old
went
daddy
back home and went, your sister's dead, let's get hitched.
have a bit of fun and
Yeah, because she's pregnant.
get the pregnant, without this poor kid knowing anything
They
about
were
it.
married as well, so there was a marriage which he wasn't invited to.
Again, that could be very much a Japanese thing. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
And it was of the time many years ago.
And in the middle of a war, so maybe it was just a thing just to carry on and keep the bloodlines going.
I don't know. They don't explain it at all. But yeah,
No.
it was very odd to see that suddenly here you are. This is now, and he even said the word, your new, or she said, I'm your new mum.
And I thought that's a bit harsh. He's only just lost his mum.
But it was a few years ago he'd lost
Was
his
it
mum.
3?
I thought it was 3 years. So
It was
it wasn't
3
like
years
it was just
later.
like that. It was not
Next
that mean.
week, hello, Dad's done what?
But still, it was, that first, oh, hello, I'm your mum. That felt
Yeah.
like that's really not helping this poor kid's mental state.
Yeah, because I think you got as well from him and just his lack of emotion that he was still battling his grief. Even,
Yeah.
yeah, because he didn't really say much or anything to start with.
Again, I don't know if I took it that. I just took it as he's just a moody kid who's been put in a new position that he doesn't want to be in almost.
That's
There's
probably
that as
bit
well,
of that as well, yeah.
It's like, who would, you
Yeah.
don't get thrown this person in, this new life, you're being moved out with you've lost all your friends probably as well, because he probably did have friends there, even though he doesn't have them in this new place.
Yep.
Everything's been taken away from him. He's lost his mum a few years before. And by the way, not just a new house, here's a new mum. Oh, you could have a brother,
Yeah.
sister, I'm not sure which it was. I think it was a brother.
It was neither.
It was neither. We don't explain.
They didn't
Many
say-
things aren't explained.
No, it just said it might be a brother or sister. So she
And
said so.
it's quite a scary proposition. And obviously a lot of this is based on
Miyazaki's life.
own personal life.
Yeah, it's supposed to be semi-autobiographical.
So a lot of the points that happen, certainly in the early part of the film,
Yeah.
are similar to what happens.
Yeah, less talking herons, I think, in his life.
Lester, well, who knows? In his
knows?
mind, he could well have taken a talking heron in there quite easily. So that was the first odd thing. But then he gets into the house, and like you said, you were about to say about the grannies.
No, the grannies. I loved every single one of them.
What was so interesting was the difference in style
Yes.
of the grannies
Yes.
to everyone else, essentially.
It's well
bar the
known for
heron.
that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were so different look. It's not even comparing it just to old people, because there was an older gent there,
There
and
was an older
he
gent.
looked very similar to everyone. The style was just so random.
Yeah, there was hints of Yabba
Yeah,
from Spirited Away.
I got that.
Yeah, especially with the one with the wart.
The
on her
war.
head.
So that she looked very
she
much
looked
the
very
same
much,
almost.
yeah, similar. And I love the fact that none of them had any teeth. They were just all gummy.
All wanted smoking. All wanted cigarettes.
all wanted tobacco.
Yeah.
They'd do anything for a bit of tobacco.
But they looked, I suppose, fantastical
Yes.
and mystical, as opposed to the standard everyday people around.
Yes.
Like
yeah.
they've been infected. I know it's not like this, but from this tower, and they changed slightly. That's the way I took it.
I didn't take it like
No, because it's not meant like that.
that. I just took it like, this is how we draw old people.
Yeah, short, larger.
Well, no, because you had the two tall ones at the back.
Yeah.
So they were all different, like the ways they walked and everything. It was brilliant. And they each had a personality that came across, which was great.
What I did like, and I'm no good with names here, is the main granny who goes away into the world with him, the taller one.
Yeah.
That she had a mean face,
Karika.
but at certain points she gave a little smile
Yes.
when people weren't watching in particular. So there's a scene where they're walking into a room, she passes everyone's in front of her, and you see a little smile pop up as though to say, I'm not going to show anybody
Yeah.
that I'm loving every second of this.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a feeling that. Yeah.
And it actually reminded me of an auntie that
Really?
I've got. My Auntie Margaret.
But that's good, though, isn't it? Because as soon as you make it personal, then it will hit harder.
Yeah, but the animation was just joyous.
It's just beautiful.
Joyous. But
Absolutely.
we'll come back into that because that's gonna. So then we sort of another scene in particular. What you say about he learns about the arrow.
Yes.
His auntie can fire bow and arrows and gives me the idea of bow and arrows through the scene where he first properly meets the heron.
Yes. After the heron's like saying, "You've got to come with me. You've got to save your mum."
And we get a scene which again reminds me of quite a few Ghibli movies and anime movies with the fish.
Yeah,
and the
very
frogs.
Ponyo with the fish. Yeah.
There seems to be a lot of sort of anime that has a lot of creatures, overwhelming people or that sort of idea. It seems to happen a lot in Japan, happen in animation. And that again, he's got the frogs covering him up. He's got the fish, the fish chanting to him,
whatever it was,
and the heron there just sort of controlling it all.
Yes, yeah, until they all come out beating things. It feels like, because they keep saying, don't they, through it, a lot of odd things happen here.
Yeah.
So they must be kind of almost prepared for this in a weird way.
It wasn't. Again, this is something I couldn't quite work out. Did they see what was going on with the frogs and the fish?
Yes, but they couldn't hear it.
They didn't discuss it, mention it, go into it. She fires an arrow to scare the heron away, I felt. But was she seeing what he was seeing, or was that in his mind? I couldn't work that out.
I don't know, because you hear later on when he goes into the library part of the tower, the old lady, where's her name? Anyway, she says,
we'll call her Auntie Margaret from now on.
She's not called Auntie Margaret. She says, I can't hear what they're saying because it has to be bloodline that goes in.
That was more from the tower, I felt, but it was. Yeah.
But I think
we'll get to some
Kiriko
points down the line, which this film has given me frustration. But it's things like that where you couldn't tell, and I don't know whether it was intentional or whether they're assuming that you'd understand that they'd seen these things. I'm not sure.
Or from them saying that weird things do happen here, they're just used to it.
Maybe.
Because people go missing.
Maybe.
And sometimes they come back.
Maybe. This is a thing. Is it designed to make you ask these questions?
I think it's probably designed to make you ask these questions.
Okay. One of the things you particularly liked was when they entered the tower. You liked the style of the tower.
The library. Hello. I was like, yeah. Quite frankly, take me away. I'd have been quite happy in that library. I'd have picked the books up for sure.
As the tower opened and the lights flicked along
I like
the run, that was gorgeous.
That was very, very pretty. Yeah.
So what did you make of the way the heron pops out with the face? And it's slowly configured so that you don't see it straight away. You just see the odd nose or freakish teeth in the mouth, then it pops back in. It was quite weird.
Yes, it was off-putting, and
it was very off-putting
for that. And I like the fact that because they have a fight, don't they? Basically, Mojito. I can't call him Mojito. Mojito and the heron have a fight, and he shoots him through the beak.
Yes.
And then he loses his powers, basically, because he's not whole. So there you see him as a short little man who basically he can turn into this heron. Kind of, he almost wears it as a skin.
I was expecting that to be sort of his uncle or a lost person, which we know it wasn't in the end.
No.
They kind of don't explain exactly.
I don't think you have to explain.
Who he is.
Yeah.
And I couldn't understand what he wanted to achieve. What was his goal?
I don't know.
Because he was told to go and help.
He was told
help
to
him
help
by his great-granddad.
Great uncle.
Great uncle, that one too. But he didn't seem to have a goal in himself.
No,
certainly
he was
initially.
More kind of like being a hindrance, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Or like a trickster.
That's what it felt like.
But after they had their fight and made up and stuff, maybe he was lost as well, in a weird way. Maybe he needed a friend.
Maybe.
Someone to trust in him.
I mean, at the end,
because they said he was always lying.
At the end, he gets away and becomes the heron.
He goes back to being a heron, doesn't he?
Yeah. Which I suppose you assume that is now his final form.
I don't know.
Such as that the parrots, they become small parrots.
Yeah, but he could travel between the two anyway and be a heron and be a...
Yes, but that world isn't there anymore.
Oh.
So theoretically, he should now just be purely a heron.
But maybe he wasn't to start with. Maybe he was like a
My
spirit.
brain is going to
spirit
explode.
beforehand.
It
So
does.
anyway, they go into this tower, trying to find the pregnant auntie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the heron goes, "Look, I've got your mum here." And she's like lying on a couch.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes up to her. I mean, that again, a beautiful set piece with that floor, which was the sun.
Yeah.
There's a mosaic into it. Absolutely gorgeous. But he goes over, touches his mum, and she's just made of water. It's an illusion.
So we get a scene not long after that where he gets attacked by a load of pelicans.
Okay, we're jumping straight to the
yeah.
pelican. So he's sunk through the floor by this point.
Yeah, well, yeah. And they push him through a gate.
Gates where the dead are in.
And
there's like a tomb.
And then he's told he's got to back away from that tomb.
Well, that's because... Right, you need to backtrack it a little bit
Yeah,
here.
explain me to this.
So, what's her name? The auntie.
Mm-hmm.
Auntie Margaret, as we're now calling her. She goes with him. She doesn't let him go into the tower on his own. She goes with him.
Yes.
She ends up... Well, she goes through the floor as well, but
yes,
we then lose
vanishes.
sight of her. But then we find a younger version of her there.
Yeah.
With the same scar on their head.
Which
that's never explained.
It's never explained. It would have made sense if she'd shown that when she was older.
So you can make the link.
But it never really explained that.
No, but we'll just go with the fact that people have their scars and they have to take them through life. So she's on a boat and she's a strong, capable old... Well,
yeah,
woman,
that's fine.
She sees him being attacked by the pelicans. She goes over there to save him, basically, from these killer cannibal pelicans.
Yeah.
And then they have to back up because that's how you leave like a shrine or anything.
But she's also making out that this shrine is dangerous.
Yes, she said the dead are in there.
No point is that sort of alluded to, I don't feel. Although we do see the shrine later on.
Well, we see the shrine then.
But
and then
it's
she
not...
does something. She does cast a ring round them, doesn't she?
Yeah, but...
And says it's gone now.
But what?
I don't know.
This is the questions I had throughout the whole thing. There's so many points in this movie that just feel they're lacking some sort of explanation.
But maybe that's for you to fill in the blanks.
Maybe. Maybe.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
so
then
she rescues him. They go off on the boat. They then go fishing, catch these very, very large fish.
And then we sort of... That introduces them to the Wada Wadas.
The Wada
The
Wadas.
cute of...
So cute.
The cuteness of this particular movie.
Balloons with legs and faces. Little white balloons that bounce everywhere but want to eat fish.
So, let's discuss these.
Yes.
What is the point? Now, when I was watching this movie, my thought was he's gone into this world of death, which also includes life.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a permanent world, in my opinion.
Right.
So you could call it hell, you could call it heaven, you could call it whatever you wanted.
Okay.
And these were new life.
Yes.
So they go up and then people are born.
Almost like souls.
Yeah, okay. That is brilliant. That's absolutely makes perfect sense.
Yep.
Until...
I even thought, because they went up in like things, I thought, oh, it's like a helix of life.
Until, at the end, the world is destroyed. So that states there is no more new life. Yeah. So this isn't like a standard heaven, earth, but it didn't... it made sense until that point. Does the world
just become rebuilt somewhere else?
Well, I don't know. So it kind of made sense, and then it took it away. It almost... Now I'm going to say this now. It almost felt like they were put in there for cutesy sales' sake.
You can't say that. The Wada Wada were there for important plot points, which was again about life, and also because the whole film's about death, isn't it? And there's a lot of death,
getting over death,
grief, maybe, and. Because you have a lot of the Wada Wadas that go up, they then get attacked by pelicans, don't they?
Because the pelicans are starving. There's no food for the pelicans, which is a misbalance of him creating this world.
Yeah, and these have got sucked in when the tower was made. These pelicans actually got sucked into this world and they can't escape. They've run out of food, so they have to eat whatever now, which we find out from one of the dying pelicans at the end of the scene. So they're starting to eat the unborn souls. And then a girl turns up in a boat and then just blasts them. But she kills a lot of the Wada Wada as well. But again, that's life and death.
No, it is.
There's a balance.
I understand all that. That was all fine, but it's just destroying the world takes away from what that meaning was, in my opinion. The personally, to me, anyway. Yeah, and it's how does life go on from there?
Okay.
Maybe that's a question.
Oh, God. So, yes, a pyrotechnic young woman turns up on the boat called Himi.
Now, we know, and it's obvious straight away, that's his mum.
Oh, yeah, I think
from the whole fire and everything, it was fairly obvious.
Yeah, that somehow this was his mum, yeah.
I'm sort of going into points I want to talk later, but let's just do it.
Yeah.
At no point until he's leaving her does he mention that that's his mum.
Right.
And at no point is he excited, happy, joyful, anything that he's with his mum. Even if it's a younger version.
But I think what came across was he was always searching for when they got take apart from each other. He was always searching for her. He always had her back. She always had his back. There was a link there all the time.
Yeah.
Which I think doesn't need to be shouted about.
Okay. In every single film where two people meet like that, they're always trying to help each other. It's just it is almost a natural story progression. People meet and it's a bad way of doing films, but it always happens. And within a short space of time, they're suddenly, right, you're the most important person to me. We're going to help each other through this adventure, this story, whatever it is. And it just felt
I felt it was like a journey through him, because obviously it's a journey for him to have to say goodbye to his mum. And I felt that it was more of a gentle way of approaching that. And that he had to come to the acceptance that it was his mum and they had to say goodbye to his mum. I feel that was the progression, but it was a very gentle undertone for that way.
Okay, we'll take it.
Thank you.
To me, it was a bit... You can tell I'm not in love with this film.
Whereas I am.
To me, it was just a bit frustrating that these things weren't sort of explained. It felt like, well, he shouldn't know it's his mum, or if he does, then he should show that joy almost. There was none of that. Okay. And I know he's down, he's whatever, but yeah.
She did take a mothering view of him. She did mother him. So, like making the jam sandwich and him eating it. You need to eat this because where we're going.
She did, but...
There was a lot of mothering. So, I mean, like say, from a watcher's point of view, it was obvious there was his mother.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's all you needed.
I disagree. But then again, I'm not an amazing movie creator, so why
yeah, what does your opinion
what
matter?
does my opinion matter? We eventually lead to meet a group of budgies that enjoy to eat meat. They call them budgies at one point as well.
Yeah, they call them both.
Yeah, they do.
Anthropomorphic parakeets / budgies.
Again, their style was quite
completely different again.
Comedic and
little boppy eyes on top of the head.
And not as detailed in some ways. And I felt their animation was very, not the animation style, but the colours and everything. It just looked different to everything else we'd seen before.
But I like that.
It made it quite jarring.
Oh, do you think?
But then you get used to it and you're like, right, okay, this is this world, that's fine.
I did like the fact that our Heron guy was trying to rescue, because he was going to get eaten, wasn't he? Let's be honest.
Yes.
He was hung up, and he just put eyes on springs on his head. That was brilliant.
But I did like, again, what is going on in the head to create these budgies. I'm just going to call them budgies. These budgies, and is there? We've had a look and we can't really find anything. There's no sort of meaning that I could find as why he utilised budgies.
Maybe because you look at a budgie, you don't think they'll come after you with a cleaver.
Well, mainly because they couldn't carry one. That's the valid reason.
Again, this was... I found it was almost like human in their way of living. So they were very much under the control of their king.
Mm-hmm.
They had expanded. There were so many of them that they had used up any resources that were there. They were left, they were left eating people. and things. I felt like it was a view on us as a race.
Yeah.
That we were basically budgies. That's what I got from that, but I could be wrong again. But again, it's an imbalance of ecosystems, which is budgies are being sucked into the tower without any food. Though, they seem to have a lot of food, but they seem to like eating people.
That's a valid point. They had veg.
They had
a lot of
loads
veg.
food.
That's just
They were
cooked. I never
making
even...
amazing
That didn't
banquets.
even click until then.
Obviously, cannibals now.
Yeah, they just want that meat. Give me that meat. And the poor pelicans have got nothing.
I know, they could at least
Tell you.
give it to the
Tell you.
pelicans.
So we sort of learn that Mojito's role is to take over this world
From his granduncle.
from his granduncle. And he's offered the chance to take these bricks.
Yeah, because there's a big floating stone,
Yes.
which is the heart of the tower, basically. Even though the tower doesn't like letting people in. I like that bit as well when everyone got electrocuted. Yeah. So only one of the bloodline can take over his granduncle's
Because
thing
he'd
of
made
keeping
an
his place.
agreement with
Yeah.
the Rock.
Dwayne Johnson.
Can you smell what the budgies are cooking? And he's been given the option to build a world without malice, but
But all the blocks had malice in. He said, I can feel death in these blocks, didn't he?
not the ones he was passing to.
No, the granduncle had to travel through all of space and time
Yes.
to find 13 blocks that did not have any malice in it so he could start building his own world.
But Mojito understands he does have
He says he
malice.
has malice
He
in
learned,
him, yeah.
which I suppose is what he's learned from when he hit himself on the head.
Well, he's learned he's
and
human.
yeah, and so forth.
Yeah, we can't create this perfect place because malice will always get him because we're not an unflawed species. We're flawed.
Speak for yourself. Thank you very much.
Like, most of us are flawed.
Yeah. So he refuses.
Yeah, but
Obviously.
But he accepts it to start with. And then he refuses later. And I didn't quite get that one.
No.
But anyway.
He's again, like you say, he's learning about himself, and
It says he refuses, saying that he must first embrace those who love him.
which is his stepmother.
Stepmom.
Yeah.
His dad even. And it's everything, isn't it? He's has to move forward. He'd become stuck. This world had become stuck. Malice and things had crept into both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And both have to almost be destroyed to be reborn.
Okay. There we go. There's the explanation of the entire movie.
It's deep.
So, essentially, because he doesn't do this, the world starts destroying itself.
Yeah. So they
He
have to run.
escapes.
We didn't even say about the room with the doors in, did we?
No, well, he escapes through the room with the doors to get to the relevant world. The relevant time, I should say.
Yeah, because
that's the only point there where he seems to understand that his mother
yes,
is
because he
his
says
mother.
if you go back, you're going to die. And she says, yes, but I have given birth to the most wonderful son. Which is, early on in the film, they say about her going missing.
They do.
She goes missing for a year. So basically she's been a year in
Mm-hmm.
this place. And she comes back ever so happy, grinning from ear to ear, but remembering nothing, because you don't remember anything once you leave the place, unless you take something from there with you.
Which, yeah. And that was one of the few parts where it's like the story sort of links and makes sort of sense in some ways. But anyway, so yeah, he gets out and it's a very quick end from there.
Yes, it just goes 2 years later, we move back to Tokyo. That was it. And then it
That's
ends. In fact, the cinema all went, huh? Which I found quite funny. Literally everyone in the cinema went, huh? So, yeah, it's just like, end.
So we'll come to our thoughts.
I don't think
shortly.
we explained that very well.
Well, I don't think we kind of explain what we think. I mean, people have seen this movie, so they've got their own opinions. It's not a straightforward film like the majority of
really
Ghibli movies.
Isn't straightforward. But I think the more you think about it, the more complicated it gets. When you first watch it, I think it's just a delight. But when you come out of the cinema and you start talking about it, then it becomes more and more complicated.
So let's look at the basics. The animation is beautiful.
Absolutely.
All hand-drawn.
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous.
It is fantastic animation.
Possibly the most expensive film they've made. They've not said for definite yet, but it's certainly up there, mainly due to the amount of time it's taken.
Years. Isn't
Through
it 8 years or
COVID
something?
has caused the issue, and then other things throughout the time.
Yeah, I'm sure they said it was like 8 years of working on this.
Yeah. But, yeah, you can see where the time has gone and the effort has gone, and the animation is just stunning. When you're seeing things like Disney sort of lose that skill in some way, but that studio itself and is keeping going, and they really need to continue, let's be honest.
Yes, yeah, because I mean, like I say, I'm just seeing now again the library and all those books and that lighting, and it's just beautiful. And even the tower, when they came up to it the first time, and it's just all hand drawn and beautiful, every brick, the thing I love about Studio Ghibli things is those cracks in the pavement where the plant's coming up, is those like gentle colours in the background. It's that attention to detail which I absolutely love.
The music?
Oh, beautiful music. I've just been listening to it.
Oh.
It fits so well. It doesn't overpower.
No, it's very delicate.
It is quite delicate, and slightly. I was listening to it again. Quite a lot of it has dark undertones to it. It's that slightly. I
think it doesn't. I must admit, it doesn't come over either. It is just background music. That's not a negative thing in any way. That's very positive. It just works with each scene. It's not trying to take over the scenes. So you probably do have to go and re-listen to it.
Yeah. Because
you haven't picked it up as an individual track. There's only a few times, and usually in the quieter scenes, where it stood out as beautiful, piano
there's
flowing
one called
music.
The Heron, and when you hear it, it's just one note to start with.
Yeah, I think that's probably what I'm thinking of towards the beginning of the film.
Yes, and
obviously Joe Hiyashi, composer.
Bow down. Man's a genius.
But it did. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna. Oh, actually, you've listened. You know better. Is it going to be sort of a piece that's going to stand out like some other movies, like Totoro? There's obviously some music that really stands out in that film. Do you feel there is, or is it more going to be just one of those you listen to and enjoy, as opposed to that's that?
I think it's going to be more like that, because obviously there was no fanfare for this film at all, was there?
No.
And I think with others you got your soundtrack and all the rest of it. You got that one song that taglined it all. I think this one is the whole overall effect of all the music.
Okay, I agree. Amazing. So, favourite scene?
Well, we both had the same, so I had to think of a different one.
Well, I'll go first then.
All right, you go first.
It's a scene that we've not really actually spoken about, which is right at the start of the film, and it litters through the first half of the film as well. It's a scene of his mother dying, and well, not necessarily his mother dying, but the fire that causes his mother to die, and he's running through the streets as he's trying to get to the hospital, which isn't explained at first. You're not sure why. You just think, he's trying to be an upstart hero at first.
No, it says it at the start.
Does it say at the start? I didn't get that. I mean, it tells
when they came in and his dad was getting ready, they said she's still in the hospital.
Oh, I see. I missed that. But anyway, it doesn't make a difference to it. To me, it made it more interesting, because I thought, he's just this little. He wants to be a hero. He wants to go and help his dad put the fire out.
Yeah, no, he was just trying to get to his mum.
But they're running through the street, and the way they sort of, it's a slight blur.
Yes.
But it's also very clear at the same time.
Yes. Yeah, he was. Yes.
It just felt like his panic as he was running through.
And you had that thing where you're listening underwater almost, so the sounds were muted because he's just concentrating on trying to get to his mum. So all the sounds are muted as he runs past. And
you got the red. In the background, and it's just it's a stunning scene, and it opened the movie up brilliantly, I felt. Yeah,
it really was impactful.
It was very, very good. So it's something that I don't feel we've seen before, that style, that particular piece of animation. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So yours then, since you can't have that one.
I know, I couldn't have that one, that nice deep and meaningful one. So I went for the fish. So there's a point when they've caught this giant fish. They've brought it up onto the shore to
feed the wada-wadas.
To give to the wada-wadas and the strange shadow men.
Black,
who can't kill anything.
That's
but
true.
Need to eat. And they have to gut the fish. So Auntie Margaret, as we're calling her now, thank you, dear. She cuts
young
down
Auntie Margaret.
She cuts down it first. Then he has to do it, and it's a brilliant one of him, having to put the effort in to get through this, but he hits all the guts, and it's just this beautiful moment where all the guts come out the fish engulf him, and he just falls slowly to the side with his guts on top of him.
Blech.
And I thought, yeah, that's a Monday morning at work.
That's just horrible.
It was just beautifully done. It was just that lovely, very slow-mo fall to the side, covered in fish guts. Brilliant.
Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
It just made me laugh because I thought, oh yeah, that is Monday morning at work.
The opposite to laughing, did it make you at any point?
I'm on
weep?
medication. I can't cry. No, it didn't make me cry at all. I wasn't even close. It was emotional, but you were rooting for him. So yeah.
I think that I got an ever so slight twinge.
Oh, go on.
Where you saw his mum
in the flames.
In the flames. There was ever so twinge, but it wasn't. Yeah, it didn't happen.
I'm on antidepressants. I can't cry. But yes, I didn't get the feeling that it would make. No, I didn't get any emotion. That way, anyway. I got loads of emotion, but not that way.
So I could sit here now, but I'm not going to. But I did find the plot overall a bit jarring, and I felt there was parts missing that didn't kind of make sense. And perhaps he was trying to make you bring your own sort of story to parts of it. Maybe I'm just rubbish at that. Maybe I just want that story.
I need it all tied up with a pretty little bow on it.
Well, in some ways I do like that, yeah. So that I'm not going to go into the individual points because I don't see the point, but there is many points, and I'm happy to discuss with anybody.
Many points.
I'm happy to sit and discuss with anybody.
Yep.
Please contact us. I'm more than happy to have that chat about where or how you found.
Because I think everyone's going to get something slightly different from it because of this point you're saying. Because it's not tied up with a neat little bow, I think everyone can make their own story out of some of the plot points that you feel are missing.
Yeah.
So I think, therefore, it becomes very personal.
So let's do some very, very brief trivia.
Okay.
So it has won Golden Globe
Woo!
for Best Animated Feature.
As it should.
Which leads on that it's a good chance the Oscars down the line.
Have a second one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's good. Now, whether they'll win anything else on top of that is another thing as well. But yeah.
Soundtrack.
I mean, you're trying to compare what else has come out that sort of stands up to the animation.
Nothing.
Really isn't, to be fair.
No.
Miyazaki's ability to draw has slowed down. So particularly in this. So where he used to be able to do 10 minutes of animation a month, he's now down to 1 minute. Due to his age, obviously.
I was going to say, he's like, what was he, 183?
So I think towards the middle end of that, he sort of passed it all on to other people, which is fine. It's all about him creating that original style, creating the story, and then just directing it other people to do the work.
Kind of need to give the reins over a little bit now.
Well,
I feel he's retired a lot of times.
He has. I don't think he'll ever officially retire again. I reckon he'll just keep going now.
Oh yeah. But I think this, as I said, is his magnum opus.
Yeah,
this is what he is proud of, and this is him in a movie.
And I hope they sort of stick, and this has got to be their selling point. I hope they stick to this hand-drawn animation. I know they've tried to revert to computer animation.
I don't think it works quite.
I mean,
well.
there's a mix. You can put a bit of computer animation in a hand-drawn just to do certain scenes to bring something in particular to life in a certain way. But yeah, that style stands out way above anything else that's coming out.
Agreed.
It really does. And as you sort of mentioned before, there was no promotion for this movie in Japan, bar a poster and a couple of interviews.
There was just that one poster.
Which is quite stunning, the fact that it is basically the highest opener of any Ghibli movie.
Yeah, he wanted to see. It just goes to show, do you really need to market something when you know it's going to be good?
Do you need to pump... Well, I suppose you actually do need to pump so much money into films that are just your average bore fest.
You mean the ones that just churn out one?
Your same old, you got your same old action movie.
Yeah.
You need to promote that and say what's different about it. And people like The Rock, who's now been mentioned twice, his whole thing...
Sponsor us, The Rock.
His whole thing was he promotes every single of his movies, and it probably has in the past paid off for him.
Yeah, I'm not saying it doesn't, but...
Do you need to push so much... Yeah, advertising, I suppose, is the biggest thing. And
when all you need to do is drop a little hint.
Not everyone can do that.
No. I think because Studio Ghibli films are an event, because they're not churning them out.
I'm trying to think of sort of Hollywood stuff that could do it. If Pete Jackson said he was going to do another Lord of the Rings style film, that'd do it. There's certain directors that have got that care and, you know, that we would go and see.
Yes,
but there's not many of them.
No.
You know, Spielberg, he's another one that could probably get away with that, with the
Yeah.
right type of film.
Yeah. I think it's a rarity.
It is very much a rarity. And he didn't even do any publicity himself.
No, he didn't. And only some people did interviews, but they had to be very brief interviews, and they couldn't go into it very much. Which I like that, and I love the poster for the film.
Oh, it's very simple.
Heron.
It really doesn't explain the film in any way, shape.
No,
it does. It
it's got a hint.
explains the first 20 to 30 minutes of the film.
Yeah. I don't think it does that because it's just a hint of an eye in the mouth of the heron, and the fact it's got dead eyes. Yeah. Very clever.
Okay. So, here's an interesting one. Toro's out of 5.
Oh, okay.
Now, unfortunately, we didn't split this. I wish we had done in the past because the animation is a different score to the movie, but we've got to just do it to itself.
Oh, okay.
So,
right.
How would you score this based obviously on your viewing history of Ghibli movies?
All of them.
What would you give this out of 5?
4.5.
Really?
Yeah. I loved it. I loved it. Yeah.
Wow.
4.5. Do you know it only loses the 0.5 because I have too many questions in my head. But otherwise, as a viewing experience and of a message, fantastic. I want to watch it again. I'm ordering that on Blu-ray as soon as it comes.
Okay.
On pre-order.
Now I feel.
Do you feel bad? What are you going to give it? I mean, this is great because it's, you know, everyone's opinion.
Since we're using 0.5s.
Oh.
2.5.
Okay.
So animation, amazing.
That's a 5.
You know, not a problem. Music, absolutely wonderful. The first 30 minutes, great.
Of a 2-hour
It was
film.
really pulling me in, maybe 40 minutes. It was really... But it just, there was too many questions in the plot for me to really get into it and enjoy it. I just prefer a more simpler. No. And this is me, you know.
Yeah, no,
this is purely me. I whinge sometimes about Ghibli movies not having enough plot and enough story. But this one just went, a bit too much. Disturbing my talking. This just went a bit too oddball for me to really enjoy it as a movie. But that's me.
See, I love that because my brain is a little bit that way. So, you know, if I had a talking heron come up to me, probably would go in the tower.
Until the nose came out and you're like, nope.
I thought that the little bobbly nose it had was fantastic. It was so macabre. I loved it.
So there we go. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
Let's try and do another one.
What, within 6 months?
Within the year.
Jesus.
Get your reviews in and do get in contact with us. Let us know how you found this and give us some feedback on your thoughts of the movie.
It was completely everywhere. And it's like, yes, like the film.
I'll tell you what, if we get enough feedback, I'm happy to do another episode and we'll go through the feedback of people's thoughts of the movie.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I think it'd be an interesting one because I honestly think people will get different things from the film.
So, we want to sort of know what you enjoyed about the movie, how you found the movie, what your ideas of the story was.
Yeah.
We'll do that. Give us enough. So just send us an email. myneighbourshow@gmail.com. I'll put a link in the notes and we'll see what comes from it.
Yeah.
Okay. Other than that, thank you very much for listening.
Happy 2024.
Please subscribe to the show. It does help us. Tell your friends, and we'll go from there. And let's see what comes. Mm-hmm. Cool. Thank you very much, Nicole.
Oh, thank you very much, Ian.
And goodbye.